My mom's best friend is pregnant with my child. Actually, you can't entirely blame me for this. 3 days ago, I had just broken up with my girlfriend and went to a bar to drown my sorrows. A drunken beauty came over to strike up a conversation with me. We talked for a while. Feeling a strong connection, we then dazedly went to rent a room. The next day, I found out she had already left. I didn't have any information at all about that woman. The sunlight filtered through the floor-to-ceiling curtains, making my eyes sting. I propped up my heavy hungover head and sat up. Only the faint wrinkles on the bedsheets proved that everything last night was not just a wet dream caused by being drunk after getting dumped. I am Lin Chen, 22 years old this year, a junior at Zhangcheng University just 24 hours ago. I was still a pitiful guy whose school beauty girlfriend snubbed him right in front of the crowd. Su Qin, the girlfriend I had pursued for half a year, at the milk tea shop in front of the school gate, in front of so many people. She threw the milk tea I bought on the ground, called me a broke loser, said I couldn't give her the life she wanted, said that Wang Hao, the young master from the finance department next door, could easily give her the latest Apple phone, while I couldn't even afford to buy her a single lipstick. At that moment, my hands were shaking with rage. During the 3 months with her, I lived frugally. The money earned from part-time jobs was all spent on her. In the end, I was labeled a broke loser. I just gave a faint smile and said, "Hope you find your rich guy," then turned and walked away. That evening, my roommates saw I wasn't doing well, so they dragged me to Muse, the most famous bar in Zhangcheng, saying they wanted to heal my broken heart. Originally, I wasn't in the mood, but after a few glasses of whiskey, my head started spinning. My mind was filled with Su Qin's words. "You're just a useless, poor student." The more I thought about it, the more frustrated I felt. I grabbed my glass and ran to the bar, and it was at this exact moment she bumped right into my arms. A scent of gardenia flowers, fragrant and sweet, immediately enveloped me. I lowered my head and lost myself in the woman's embrace. She was wearing a black slip dress, with a matching blazer draped over her shoulders. Her long hair hung loose. A few strands of hair clung to her flushed cheeks. The corner of her mouth held a tipsy smile. Her voice was very soft with a hint of raspiness, completely different from Su Qin's whiny tone. Hearing it made my whole body go numb. I quickly supported her as the alcohol kicked in, making my mouth move faster than my brain. "It's okay. Just lean on me or else don't. Throw me. I'm very strong," she burst out laughing. She didn't push me away, but instead used her hand to take my glass from the bar. Taking a sip of the remaining whiskey of mine, then raised an eyebrow, looking at me, heartbroken, drinking alone here. At that moment, I didn't care anymore, like dumping trash. I told her the whole story of being dumped by Su Qin. She just silently listened, occasionally interjecting a few words, saying that girl had no taste, saying a handsome guy like me, if she were a few years younger, she would have pursued me already. These words made me feel ecstatic hearing them. My self-esteem, which had been wounded, was soothed by her. A few words and I was on cloud 9. The more I looked at her, the more attractive she seemed. Mature, beautiful, gentle, and understood men. We just kept going. One glass for her, one for me, chatting about everything under the sun. I only knew her name was Lily. The more we drank, the more my head began to spin. I ended up helping her out of the bar. She looked up at me and said, "Dare to come with me." At that moment, my blood boiled. Forget going through fire or water, I dare anything. I hailed a taxi and named the most premium hotel nearby. She leaned into my chest, remaining very quiet the entire way. Only her hand tightly gripped my arm, but the memories after that were all just fragments. I only remember the warm yellow light in the hotel room, remembering the scent of gardenia on her body, remembering her smooth skin, remembering her whispering "little brother" close to my ear. As a result, I woke up to find her gone. I flipped over the bed, a bottle of unopened mineral water on the nightstand, and a black hair tie. I picked up the hair tie. The scent of gardenia still lingered on it, faintly. An indescribable feeling hit me, a bit of emptiness, and a strange sense of refreshment, mixed with a bit of dissatisfaction. After all, it was a night of passion, just like a daydream. I showered in the hotel, changed clothes, stuffed the hair tie into my pocket, then leisurely left the hotel just as I reached the curb. I received a call from my brother, back at the dorm. On the other end, he shouted, "Chen, where the hell are you? I called last night, but you didn't pick up. Su Qin brought that rich kid to block you at the dorm, saying she wants to humiliate you." I gave a cold smirk, feeling no ripple of emotion in my heart. If it were yesterday, maybe I would have been angry and felt embarrassed, but after last night, looking back at Su Qin now, I only feel she's bland and tasteless. Her plainness, compared to Sister Li last night, isn't even fit to carry her shoes. Let her block me. Do I look scared? I hailed a taxi, gave the school address to the driver, and leisurely replied, "It's perfect." I also have a few words for her. 20 minutes later, the taxi stopped in front of the school dormitory. From afar, I saw Su Qin linking arms with Wang Hao, standing by the flower bed at the base of the building, surrounded by a few curious students, watching and pointing in this direction. As soon as Su Qin saw me, she immediately got fired up. She let go of Wang Hao's arm and walked up to me in her high heels. A mocking smile played on her lips. Lin Chen, you finally know your way back. I thought after I dumped you, you'd be hiding in some corner. Wang Hao also stepped forward, wrapping his arm around Su Qin's waist, looking down on me with pure contempt. Hey kid, let me tell you something. Su Qin following me is her blessing. Your monthly allowance is what exactly you can't even afford a single lipstick for her. Don't be a toad lusting after swan meat anymore. Everyone around started laughing, jeering and pointing at me. If this were before, I definitely would have turned red, straining my neck to argue with them. But now I just picked my ear, looked at Su Qin and slowly smiled. Su Qin, do you really think that clinging to a young master is a shortcut to the top, turning into a phoenix? What? Su Qin's face immediately darkened. Lin Chen, what do you mean by that? Yarasha. Nothing at all. My gaze swept over the designer dress, clearly bought for her by Wang Hao. My tone carried a hint of sarcasm. Just seeing that you're clearly a human but don't want to act like one, choosing to be a trophy instead, it's really not easy. You think because he can buy you bags and clothes today, he won't dump you for someone new tomorrow. Do you really think he's sincere? You're full of it. Wang Hao immediately flipped out, stepping forward, clenching his fist, ready to charge at me. You bastard, do you want a beating? Or what? I stood my ground, even taking a step forward, pointing at the CCTV camera right above us. Hit me right here, the school. Cameras record very clearly. If you touch me even once, I'll roll right onto the ground. If I don't squeeze 100 million out of you, then I'll take your last name. Anyway, I've got nothing to lose unlike you. Your family has money. Let's see if the school protects a young master like you, or protects an ordinary student like me. Wang Hao's punch immediately stopped midair. His face turned beet red, unable to move forward or back down, looking extremely awkward. The mocking laughter around us immediately shifted directions. Everyone started pointing at Wang Hao. He had never been humiliated like this before, gritting his teeth as he cursed. You broke, loser, but he didn't dare to make a move anymore. I looked back at Su Qin. Her face was turning red and white. Trembling with rage, I gave a light laugh and said, oh, one more thing, don't think that being dumped by you hurts. Truth be told, this brother of yours last night met a lady who's 100 times prettier than you, 100 times gentler, and her body puts yours to shame. Compared to her, you're just a tiny piece of ungrown cabbage. I actually have to thank you for dumping me, otherwise I wouldn't have met someone so amazing. As soon as I said that, Su Qin's face turned pale. She screamed, Lin Chen, have you no shame, kid? Even if I'm shameless, I'm still better than you. You money-grubbing traitor. I waved my hand, too lazy to talk to her further, turned around and walked into the dorm, leaving behind a crowd of gossiping onlookers, and Su Qin and Wang Hao who were stomping their feet in anger, back in the room. My 3 roommates immediately surrounded me, showering me with compliments, saying I was so cool just now, and left that pair speechless. The eldest bro patted my shoulder and said, not bad, Chen, associates. One night apart, and you've suddenly seen the light. Did you really meet a beautiful lady? You aren't just flexing. To us, are you? I smiled, took the black hair tie out of my pocket and placed it on the table. Why would I lie to you guys? Your bro never brags. The 3 roommates immediately huddled together, looking at the hair tie with eyes glowing, chirping away, asking me what exactly happened, what that lady looked like, how old she was, what she did for a living. Their questions gave me a headache. I could only vaguely say I met her by chance at the bar, without saying anything more. It wasn't that I didn't want to tell them, but because I really didn't know anything at all. In the following days, I often touched the hair tie in my pocket, thinking back to Sister Li Li that night. She was like a breeze blowing through my life, stirring up my heart and then quietly vanishing. Just as I was about to treat this matter, like a passing drizzle buried deep in my heart, my mom called. My mom's name is Zhang Lan, a typical Northeast woman. Straightforward personality. Quick and efficient, she runs a small supermarket in Jiangcheng. Life isn't overly wealthy. Usually I'm quite obedient to her, only occasionally talking back. As soon as I picked up, my mom's loud resonant voice rang out from the receiver. Chen, are you coming home this weekend, your aunt? Lehman is back, Come over for dinner this weekend. I'll make the braised pork you both love most. I froze for a moment, Aunt Lyman. My mom has a lot of best friends. Growing up, I've met at least 80 if not 100 aunts. This Aunt Lyman, I have a slight impression of her. Seems like she's my mom's childhood best friend. Heard that many years ago she went south for business, then went abroad. I haven't seen her for several years now. The impression has faded. Aunt Lyman which? Aunt Lyman mom. I blurted out a question. Which other Aunt Chow Liman? My best friend. She used to carry you when you were little. Even bought baby formula for you, my mom said irritably on the other end. This kid? Has your memory been eaten by a dog? Hurry home this weekend, Lyman. Even said, she wants to set you up with someone. Heard you just got dumped. It's the perfect time to find you a match. As soon as I heard set you up, I got a headache, hurrying to brush it off. Yes, Mom, I know. I'll definitely be back this weekend. Hanging up, I didn't think much of it. Just a friend of my mom's, coming over for a meal, As for the setup, I'll just wing it when the time comes. Right now, my head is full of Sister Lily from that night. I have no mental energy for other girls. The weekend arrived quickly. I slept until noon, got ready, then took a ride home. My house is in an old residential area not far from school. A 20-minute bus ride. As soon as I reached the door, I smelled the fragrant aroma of braised pork and a familiar scent of gardenia flowers lingering in the air. My heart skipped a beat. My footsteps immediately halted. This scent is way too familiar. Too similar, exactly like the scent that lingered around my nose in the hotel that night. At that moment, I tried to comfort myself, thinking I was overthinking. It's just gardenia perfume, many women use it. How could there be such a coincidence? I shook my head, took out the key, and opened the door. Mom. I'm home, I called out while changing my shoes, looking up into the living room. Just that one look made me turn to stone. On the living room sofa was a woman. She was wearing a champagne silk dress, carrying an air of natural seductiveness. The sunlight shining in from the living room window fell upon her, bathing her entire body in a gentle, mature, elegant, and radiant glow. Enchanting, her whole being oozed femininity, and this face, even if it turned to ash, I would recognize it. It was exactly Sister Lily, who had a one-night stand with me at the bar. The keychain in my hand fell to the floor with a clatter, making a piercing noise. My mind went completely blank, as if struck by lightning. A loud ringing in my ears, only one thought spinning in my head. It's over. My mom's best friend, the person mom said carried me as a baby and bought formula for me, the person I'm supposed to call Aunt, is the one who went to bed with me that night. She heard the noise and turned her head. Her gaze fell upon me. The moment our eyes met, I saw clearly. The glass in her hand trembled. The water inside almost spilled out. Her originally smiling face immediately froze. A flash of clear panic flickered in her eyes, and her pupils constricted. She quickly hid her emotions, placing a polite smile back on her face. Except that smile looked a bit forced. Even the tips of her ears quietly turned red. Chen, you're back. My mom poked her head out from the kitchen, still holding a cooking spatula, laughing and scolding. Why are you standing there? Come say hello. This is your Aunt Qiao Liman. I told you about her already. Hurry up. Greet your aunt. I stood in place. My legs felt like lead, unable to move. Opening my mouth several times, my tongue felt tied. Finally forcing a few words out of my throat. Aunt Qiao. Hello, aunt. The two words, hello, aunt, felt like I was grinding my teeth to dust. Carried me and bought me formula. What kind of aunt is this? A few nights ago, you were holding me and calling me little brother. Qiao. Lehman looked at me, the corner of her mouth twitching, as she forced a strained smile. Her voice sounded a bit unnatural. Chen has grown so much already. The last time I saw you, you were only this tall. You were just a little brat, I inwardly mocked. Auntie, I'm much taller than you now. My mom came out from the kitchen, wiping her hands, giving me a playful smack. You brat, hurry over here and sit down to talk with your aunt. Mom's food is almost ready. I stiffly walked over to the sofa and sat on the single chair opposite Qiao Liman. During the whole process, I didn't know where to look. Every time I stole a glance, it was at her. She crossed her legs peeking out from her dress, both slender and white. Exactly the same feeling as when I touched them that night. Her fingers were long, slender, and beautiful, holding the glass, her nails neatly trimmed and painted with a musical note pink color. These were the same hands that grazed my back that night, leaving behind faint scratch marks. The more I thought, the more restless I became, and the more I thought, the more terrified I felt. A cold sweat broke out on my back. Mom was still rambling on the side. Lyman, you have no idea, this brat recently got dumped by his girlfriend at school. He's been dazed all day. I was worried to death. You know a lot of people. Is there any reliable girl around you can introduce to my Chen? Kaliman held the glass and took a sip of water. Looking up at me, her gaze held a hint of indescribable teasing. I felt a bit embarrassed. She curled her lips and spoke. Of course, Chen, what kind of girls do you like? Tell auntie, and I'll keep an eye out for you. The mouthful of water I just took almost sprayed straight out. Auntie, oh auntie, are you seriously asking me that? What kind do I like? Don't you already know in your heart? My face turned bright red all the way to my ears. I could barely hold the glass of water steady in my hand. My mom paused, then laughed and gave me another smack, saying irritably, you naughty brat. No respect joking with your aunt like that. Is she someone you can tease? Be quiet right now. I quickly gave a forced smile. Mom, I was just kidding. And Qiao, don't mind me. I just feel like you're the most charismatic woman I've ever met. Qiao Liman took a deep breath, struggling to regain her composure, glancing at me with a look that was part warning, part embarrassment, and also held an indescribable smile. She set her glass down and smiled at my mom. It's okay. The kid is just joking. He really has a silver tongue. I laughed inwardly. A silver tongue, huh? Auntie, you didn't say that night. When you said I had a silver tongue, you were much more honest than you are now. Soon my mom finished cooking. Braised pork sweet and sour ribs and steamed fish filled the table. My mom pulled Chow Liman to the dining table, constantly serving her food while non-stop recounting stories from over the years. That's when I found out Chow Liman hadn't just returned to the country. She'd been back in Jiangcheng for 6 months already, running a cultural media company. Business is booming. She's now a real deal female boss with a massive net worth. It's just that she's been busy with the company this past half year and hadn't had time to meet my mom. I was even more shocked. Turns out I didn't just sleep with my mom's best friend, but also with a rich CEO worth hundreds of millions. At the table, my mom kept offering drinks, pouring a glass of red wine for Chow Liman, and pouring one for me too. Chow Liman raised her glass and took a sip, occasionally glancing toward me, with complex emotions. With my mom there, I became bolder and started testing the waters with hints. I raised my glass toward Chow Liman. Aunt Chow, I'd like to toast you. Welcome back to Jiangcheng, Chow Liman clinked. Glasses with me took a sip and smiled. Thanks, Chen. I set my glass down, pretending to ask casually, Aunt Chow, with work being so busy, do you ever go to bars to relax a few days ago? I went to a bar with some friends, the Muse Bar, and I thought I saw someone who looked just like you. I thought I must have seen wrong. As soon as those words were uttered, Chow Liman's hand holding the chopsticks trembled. The chopsticks almost slipped from her hand. Her face immediately paled quite a bit. She shot me a sharp, piercing glare full of warning. My mom didn't notice anything unusual at all. The moment she heard I went to a bar, she blew up. She set her chopsticks down and scolded me, Lin Chen. You're going to those places again, Kate. How many times have I told you? Bars are complicated places, not a place students should visit. Did you turn into a delinquent after getting dumped? I quickly laughed it off. Mom, my bad. I only went once with some friends. I'll never go again. Besides, I just saw wrong. That figure looked like Aunt. How, but it wasn't her. Chow Liman finally breathed a sigh of relief, following up on my mom's words, Sister Lan. It's okay. The kids are grown now. Going out with friends to relax is perfectly normal. I rarely go to bars myself, only occasionally to meet clients. Chen definitely saw wrong. After speaking, she looked up again and glared at me as if she wanted to eat me alive. I laughed to myself, lowering my head to eat, but the corners of my mouth kept twitching up. I ate this meal feeling both anxious and incredibly thrilled. Throughout the meal, I kept teasing her, occasionally dropping ambiguous comments, watching Chow Liman being both panicked and angry but not daring to lash out. I found it hilarious. As for Chow Liman, she tried to keep her cool all throughout, talking to my mother, while using her eyes to warn me. By the end of the meal, she had barely eaten a few bites, but she had quite a lot to drink. Her face was constantly flushed. Looking at her made my heart itch. Finally, the meal was over. My mom cleared the dishes and Chow Liman stood up saying she wanted to leave. My mom quickly stopped her. You've been drinking? You can't drive. It just so happens Chen has his license. Let him take you home. Chen, hurry and drive your aunt home. Make sure she gets back safe before you return. My heart immediately bloomed. I quickly nodded, yes, Mom, so I promised to complete the mission. Chow Liman was about to say something, but my mom didn't give her a chance, pushing her toward the door and saying, it's decided. I'm not comfortable with you going back alone. Let Chen take you back. It's a good chance for him to learn from you. Look at you, young and successful, a big boss. Son, learn from her and open your eyes to the world. Chow Liman had no choice but to agree. I took the car keys and followed Chow Liman down to the underground parking garage. Neither of us said a word the whole way. The atmosphere was unusually quiet, with only the sound of our footsteps echoing through the empty garage. Arriving next to a white Porsche Panamera, Chow Liman stopped and pressed the key. The car unlocked. She turned to look at me. The polite smile on her face immediately vanished, replaced by an expression of both embarrassment and anger. Her voice was very low, like she was grinding her teeth. Lin Chen back at this table, what did you mean by that? I leaned against the car, finding her annoyed face incredibly cute. I gave a cheeky grin. Nothing at all, Aunt Chow. I just wanted to ask if you slept well that night. Shut up. Chow Liman immediately bristled, reaching out to cover my mouth, but I caught her by the wrist. Her hand was soft and smooth, exactly like the feeling that night. I held her wrist, clearly feeling her pulse. My heart stirred and I couldn't help but take a step forward almost. Pressing up against her, the garage lights were very dim, with only the exit signs emitting a faint glow. Casting over her face, her eyelashes were long and trembling slightly. Auntie, what are you hiding for? I looked down at her, my voice low and teasing. You weren't like this that night. You held me and kept calling me little brother so affectionately. Why do you act like you've seen a ghost now? Chow Liman's face turned even redder as she tried to pull her hand back, but she couldn't break free, her eyes turning red with frustration. Gritting her teeth, she said, Lin Chen, let go of me. Don't overstep. That night was just an accident. We were both drunk. Okay? No way, I refused immediately without a second thought, looking straight into her eyes. I said seriously, for me it wasn't an accident. Chow Liman I don't care if you're my mom's best friend or the person I'm supposed to call aunt. I take responsibility for that night. Qiao Liman froze looking at me. A look of confusion flashed in her eyes, as if she didn't expect me to say those words. I let go of her hand, opened the driver's side door, and raised an eyebrow at her. Get in the car, aunt. Qiao mom told me I have to get you home safely. I can't let mom worry, right? If there's anything we can talk slowly on the way. Qiao Liman stood there looking at me for a long time. Finally, she gritted her teeth, walked around to the passenger seat and sat down. I started the car, drove out of the garage, heading toward the riverbank. I knew the luxury apartment complexes with the best river views in Jiangcheng were all located there. A wealthy boss like Qiao Liman definitely lives there. The atmosphere in the car was very quiet, only the sound of the air conditioning. Qiao Liman leaned against the passenger seat, looking out the window. The lines of her side profile were very soft, but I could tell her mood was very complex. After driving for a long time, she finally spoke first. In a very soft voice, Lin Chen, about that night, I hope you will never speak of it. Especially don't let your mother know. She is my best friend. If she finds out, we won't even be able to be friends anymore. I know. I nodded, looking ahead. I won't tell mom, unless you want her to know. Qiao Liman breathed a sigh of relief and said again, let's just consider this an accident. It's in the past, so let it go. From now on, let's just treat each other like a normal adult and a normal kid. Okay, I turned my head to look at her and smiled. Aunt Qiao, do you really think that's possible? We've already done that. How do you expect me to look at you like a normal aunt? Every time I see you, I remember that night. Remember the way you held me. I can't do it. Lin Chen Qiao Liman's face turned red with anger. She reached out to hit me. You're driving, stop talking nonsense. I laughed and dodged. I'm not talking nonsense. I'm being serious. Aunt Qiao, let me ask you, why were you so drunk that night? And why did you run over to talk to me all by yourself? Someone with your status wouldn't just randomly strike up a conversation with a strange man, right? The moment I said this, Qiao Liman's expression immediately darkened. A flash of sadness flickered in her eyes, along with a bit of rage. She turned her face toward the window. Her voice was weak. It's none of your business. How is it not my business? We've already been intimate. Your business is my business too. I can't just stay in the dark about a woman who suddenly appeared in my bed. Qiao Liman was silent for a long time. Finally, she sighed and told me the whole truth. She has an ex-husband named Zhao Feng. They were married for 8 years. In the end, due to personality clashes and not having children, they got a divorce. At the time of the divorce, Qiao Liman gave him 10 million, considering it a clean break and fulfilling her obligations. It turns out that after Zhao Feng got the money, he didn't live a decent life, gambling all day long. In less than 2 years, he blew through the 10 million and even owed the casino several million more. This time, when Qiao Liman returned to Jiangcheng, Zhao Feng found out and started clinging to her, wanting to remarry. To put it bluntly, he just wanted to squeeze more money out of her. A few nights ago, Zhao Feng asked her to meet at the Muse bar, saying he wanted to have a serious talk. But after she arrived, Zhao Feng spiked her drink. She realized something was wrong, and while Zhao Feng wasn't paying attention, she hurriedly ran away. Consequently, in her dazed state, she crashed right into my arms, and everything else followed from there. After hearing this, I was so angry, I nearly crushed the steering wheel. Gritting my teeth, I cursed, that son of a bitch. He dared to drug you? Is he even a man? Qiao Liman saw my angry expression. A flash of surprise flickered in her eyes. Then she gave a bitter smile. It's over now. Anyway, nothing happened. How can you say nothing happened? I looked at her and spoke seriously. If you hadn't bumped into me that night and that bastard Zhao Feng had taken you away, the consequences would be unthinkable. Qiao Liman Jie. This matter cannot just be brushed aside. He dared to touch you, so I won't let him off. Qiao Liman trembled slightly, looking at me for a long time without a word. The people around her who knew about this either advised her to keep the peace or wanted to use this opportunity to suck up to her for her money. No one had ever been like me, whose first reaction was pure rage and wanted to stand up for her. She looked at me, her gaze softening and her voice turning gentle. Fine, that's enough. You're still a student. Don't get involved in these things. Zhao Feng is a scoundrel you can't deal with. Him? I can't deal with him, I scoffed. I have nothing to lose unlike him. He's just a deadbeat loser buried in debt. Why would I be afraid of him, Aunt Qiao? You? Don't worry, just leave this to me. I guarantee he won't dare bother you ever again. Qiao Liman looked at me with complex emotions in her eyes. She wanted to say something but ultimately stopped. Just giving a gentle nod, the car quickly arrived at the riverside. Number 1 apartment complex by the riverbank. The most premium residential area in Jiangcheng. Over 100 million per square meter with 1 unit, costing at least several tens of millions. I parked the car in the basement, turned off the engine and looked at Qiao Liman. We're here, I said. Qiao Liman nodded, unbuckled her seatbelt. looked at me hesitantly for a moment, then said, Lin Chen, thank you for driving me home today. And about that night, thank you. I dazed for a second, then laughed. Thank me. For what? For taking advantage of you. Chow Liman's face turned red once again. She reached out and gave me a smack. Frustrated, she said, be serious for once. I mean, thank you for that night. If not for you, I really don't know what would have happened. I saw her reddened eyes and my heart softened. I reached out and gently stroked her head. No need for thanks. Protecting you is what I should do. Xiao Liman's body immediately stiffened. She looked up at me, her eyelashes trembling slightly, with a gaze carrying an indescribable emotion. We were so close, our breaths intertwining. The air in the car instantly turned steamy. I looked at her plump lips and couldn't help but slowly lean in, just as my lips were about to touch hers. She suddenly turned her head away and pushed me back. Her voice was panicked. No, Lin Chen. We can't do this. I'm your mother's best friend. You have to call me auntie. I saw her panicked expression and didn't force her anymore, just smiling. Okay, I won't force you. But Chow Liman, I like you. That's not going to change. Chow Liman looked at me for a long time without a word. Finally, she opened the car door, hurriedly got out and ran into the elevator, without looking back. I sat in the car watching the floor numbers go up, unable to stop myself from smiling. Interesting. Truly too interesting. From that day on, my life completely changed. I was no longer like before, just drifting through classes day after day. I had a goal. I started frequently visiting Chow Liman's company, under the pretext of visiting her for my mom fearing she was being harassed by Zhao Feng. Chow Liman's company was in the busiest CBD in all of Jiangcheng. An entire floor belonged to her with high-end luxurious decor. The first time I arrived, the receptionist stopped me and asked who I was looking for. I said I was looking for Chow Liman and that I was her younger brother. The receptionist looked skeptical and called Chow Liman's secretary. In less than 2 minutes, the secretary rushed down to lead me up, sizing me up with a curious gaze the entire way. When I stepped into Chow Liman's office, she was in the middle of a meeting. Seeing me walk in, she immediately froze, almost dropping the pen in her hand. She spoke into the computer. She paused for a moment and then logged off. Looking at me, she gritted her teeth and said, Lin Chen, why did you run all the way here? I smiled and walked up to her desk, placing the thermos in my hand on it. Mom told me to bring over some soup she stewed for you. She said you've been busy lately and need some nourishment. Plus, I wanted to see if that Zhao Feng guy was still bothering you. Chow Liman looked at me with both anger and helplessness. I'm in a meeting, Kyo. Go wait outside first. I nodded and didn't make a scene, just sat on the sofa in the office, quietly waiting for her to finish her meeting. Her meeting lasted over half an hour. After it ended, her employees came in to hand over documents. Seeing me sitting on the sofa, they all stole curious glances at me. When leaving, they even stood by the door whispering. I didn't need to think twice to know they were gossiping about who this young man was and his relationship with their beautiful boss. After everyone left, Xiao Liman finally walked over to me, hands on her hips. Looking at me, she said irritably, Lin Chen, what? Do you actually want running to my company every single day? The people here are already starting to spread rumors. I opened the thermos, poured out the soup, handed it to her and smiled, saying, let them talk. I'm just here to bring you soup anyway. It's not like I'm doing anything bad. Hurry and drink up, Mom stewed it herself. It won't taste good if it gets cold. Chow Liman looked at the bowl I offered, hesitated for a moment, but finally took it, taking small sips. The way she drank her soup was so elegant, her long eyelashes cast downward, hiding the emotions in her eyes. I sat opposite her, just watching her. The more I looked, the more I felt. This woman was truly too charming. From then on, I went to her company every day, bringing food my mom cooked today, some fruit tomorrow, and a bouquet of flowers the day after, using the excuse of taking care of her for my mom. But in reality, I just wanted to see her every day. The employees at the company of Chow Liman all assumed I was her. Boy toy looking at me with eyes full of respect. Even the receptionist, every time she saw me, would smile and say, hello, Mr. Lin. Xiao Liman tried to kick me out at first, but later, when she couldn't get rid of me, she just let it be. Only every time I teased her in front of the staff, she would blush and shoot me a glare. Though she never actually got truly angry, I thought these days would just peacefully pass by. And as I slowly pursued her, one day she would accept me. As it turns out, something happened half a month later. That day, I was in the middle of class when I suddenly got a call from Chow Liman. Her voice over the phone sounded a bit panicked, and there was even the sound of sobbing. Lin Chen, can you come over here for a bit? So, hearing that her voice wasn't right, I immediately got worried and no longer had any mind for studying. I told the teacher I had a stomachache and dashed out of class, asking while running, what's wrong, auntie? Is that bastard Zhao Feng bothering you? Again, where are you? I'm coming right now. I'm at the hospital, Chow Liman said very shakily. The central hospital. Please come, I have something to tell you. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately panicked. Thinking something terrible had happened to her, I hailed a taxi and rushed to the city central hospital. The entire way there, my heart was in my throat, my head filled with worst case scenarios. 20 minutes later, I rushed to the gynecology department of the central hospital and saw Chow Liman in the hallway. She was sitting on a long bench wearing a white suit, her hair a bit messy, holding a piece of paper with her head down, shoulders trembling. She looked incredibly helpless. I hurried over and sat down in front of her, looking at her with concern. "What's wrong, Aunt Lyman? Are you feeling unwell? Did Zhao Feng do something to you? Tell me and I'll kill him." Chow Liman looked up at me, her eyes red and filled with tears. Then she handed the paper in her hand to me. I doubtfully took it and looked down, looking at a test report that clearly stated early intrauterine pregnancy. About 5 weeks, my head started buzzing, going completely blank for a moment. The paper in my hand almost fell to the ground. My entire body went stiff. As I slumped to the floor, unable to recover for a long while, pregnant. Xiao Li is pregnant, the baby is mine. Only these few sentences were in my head, repeating constantly like crazy, as if I had been struck by lightning. I even forgot to breathe. I slept with my mom's best friend, and now she is pregnant with my child. I finally understand why my mom always said, "Play with fire and you'll get burned, or rather, walk by the river, and you'll get your shoes wet." Well, I didn't just get them wet. I fell straight into the river. Xiao Li looked at my dazed state, and the tears in her eyes finally couldn't be held back anymore. Xiao Li was stunned. Looking at me, a flash of surprise crossed her eyes, as if she didn't expect me to say those kinds of things. Her voice was a bit choked up. "Lin Chen, I'm pregnant. The baby is yours." I finally came to my senses, looking at her reddened eyes. My heart felt like it was being tugged, both pained and softened. I reached out gently to wipe the tears from her face. Then a thought flashed through my mind, and my playful nature acted up again. I blurted out, "Really? Am I that impressive? A one-shot kill?" Xiao Li, who was originally crying heartbreakingly, heard me say this and immediately froze, looking at me with tears still on her cheeks. With an expression both angry and amused, she reached out and gave me a smack, crying while scolding me. "Lin Chen, can't you be serious? I'm worried to death here, and you're still saying things like that?" I quickly grabbed her hand, helped her up, and sat down beside her, looking at the pregnancy report in her hand, not knowing what to feel in my heart. There was shock and there was panic. But more than that, it was an indescribable joy and an unprecedented sense of responsibility. I'm 22, still an undergraduate student, and I'm about to become a father. The mother of the child is my mom's best friend, 16 years older than me. If this got out, it would definitely make everyone's jaws drop. But I wasn't afraid at all. I even felt a bit. I looked at Xiao Li and asked seriously, "What do you want to do?" Xiao Li sniffled, wiping the tears from her face. She took a deep breath, her gaze becoming determined. "This baby, I want to keep it." I froze for a second, then smiled and nodded. "Fine, keep it then. I have no objections." This time it was Xiao Li's turn to be dazed. She looked at me, her eyes filled with shock, as if she didn't expect me to agree so easily. She had already mentally prepared herself for me to tell her to get an abortion, to cut ties with her, or even to run away from her. She looked at me for a long time without a word, then took a bank card out of her bag, placed it in my hand, and said, "Lin Chen, I can raise this child on my own. You don't need to take responsibility. There is 5 million RMB in this card. Enough for you to buy a house and a car after graduation, get married, and have kids. I only have one request. Never tell anyone about this, especially your mother. Never mention it again. Just act as if this child has nothing to do with you." "Okay." I looked at the bank card in my hand, then back at Xiao Li, and suddenly burst out laughing. I put the card back in her hand, looked into her eyes, and said word for word, "Xiao Li, what kind of person do you take me for? Am I the type who puts his pants on and denies everything? Sleep with a woman and let her have the baby alone while I take her money?" Xiao Li looked at me, her eyes full of confusion. "Then what do you want?" "It's simple." I reached out and gently took her hand, looking into her eyes and saying seriously, "I don't want the money. The baby is mine. So I have to take responsibility. You're mine too, and I want you, Xiao Li. I want to marry you." "You're talking nonsense. What are you saying?" Xiao Li immediately flared up, forcefully pulling her hand back, looking at me with an expression of pure disbelief. "Lin Chen, have you lost your mind? I'm 16 years older than you. I'm your mother's best friend. You're supposed to call me auntie. How can we possibly get married, Ki? If your mother finds out, she'll die of anger." "I'm not crazy." I looked at her, my tone incredibly serious. "What does age matter? So what if it's 16 years? Yang Zhening and Wang Fan are 54 years apart, and they're doing just fine. Mom will eventually accept it. You're my mom's best friend, not my biological aunt. We aren't related by blood, and the law doesn't forbid us from marrying." "But what about your mother?" Xiao Li looked at me, her voice trembling. "Sister Lan is my best friend. Me getting involved with her son and even carrying his child? How do you expect her to ever accept that? She'll cut ties with me. I'll handle my mother. I said, my mom might have a hot temper, but she loves me the most and she loves you too. As long as we're sincere. At worst, even if she doesn't accept it, I still won't let you go. And I certainly won't abandon this baby. Charlie looked at me, and the tears once again fell uncontrollably. She's 38 years old this year. She was married to her ex-husband for 8 years, always desperately longing for a child. She tried everything, but could never get pregnant. She had thought that in this lifetime, she would never be able to have her own biological child. The result was unexpected after just one accidental night. She was pregnant, she wanted to keep this baby, but she had already prepared herself to raise it alone. She had even thought about giving Lin Chen a sum of money, so he would stay silent forever and forever. Stay out of her and the child's lives. She never once imagined that Lin Chen would say these things. This boy 16 years younger than her, the son of her best friend, in her moment of greatest panic and helplessness, had said that he wanted to marry her, wants to take responsibility for her and the baby. She looked at me for a long while without a word, and finally covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. I reached out and pulled her into my arms, gently patting her back and speaking softly, "Don't cry. I'm here now. Even if the sky falls, I'll hold it up. I will protect both you and my child." Kiali leaned into my chest, trembling as she cried. Years of resentment and helplessness, all poured out at this very moment. After leaving the hospital, I officially began my life as a future father. I moved straight into Charlie's high-end Riverview apartment to live, under the pretext of taking care of a pregnant woman. Xiao Lai refused at first, but she couldn't withstand my persistence. Moreover, after getting pregnant her morning, sickness was very severe. She truly needed someone by her side. Finally, she agreed. I started learning to cook dishes for pregnant women, clinging to my phone every day to look up recipes. What can a pregnant woman eat? What can't a pregnant woman eat? I memorized these better than the knowledge in my textbooks. At first, the food I cooked was either too salty or too sweet. It tasted terrible. Xiaoli would take one bite and vomit it all up. I would sneak into the kitchen and throw away the food I made, almost bursting into tears. Xiaoli saw this, came up from behind and hugged me gently, saying, "It's okay, take it slow, you've done great." Since then, I spent every day learning to cook alongside the domestic helper. After practicing for half a month, I finally cooked a few decent dishes for a pregnant woman. Xiaoli ate the food I cooked, her eyes sparkling with a smile, saying my cooking was even better than the helpers. Besides taking care of her meals, I also went for walks with her every day, telling her jokes to make her happy. When her nausea was bad, I'd rub her stomach for her, pour her water, and stay up all night by her side, without feeling tired at all. Xiaoli watched me busying myself back and forth, her gaze becoming softer and softer, her eyes growing gentler by the day, and her attitude toward me also shifting. She was no longer cold to me like before, but would proactively act spoiled with me, sharing her work frustrations, and leaning into my chest to imagine together what life would be like after the baby arrives. Our relationship progressed by leaps and bounds, aside from not having officially broken the window film yet. We were no different from a real married couple, of course. My mom knew nothing about any of this. I told her that I was renting a place with a classmate off campus to make studying easier. My mom didn't think much of it and believed me immediately, only every time she called me. She'd tell me to visit Xiaoli more often, saying it wasn't easy for her being alone, and asking me to take good care of her. Each time I'd just smile and agree, secretly amused. "Mom, don't you worry. I'll definitely take thorough care of your best friend. I've even got a grandchild lined up for you." A few months flew by. In a flash, Xiaoli was nearly 3 months pregnant. Her belly was starting to show a slight bump, and her morning sickness gradually subsided. Her complexion looked better and better every day. She radiated the gentle glow of motherhood, making me fall for her even harder. Just when I thought these happy days would continue forever, trouble came knocking on the door. That day, I took Xiaoli to the mall to buy maternity clothes. Just as we reached the mother and baby section, we ran into two people, Su Qing and Wang Hao. The moment Su Qing saw me, her eyes lit up. Then her gaze fell upon Xiaoli walking right beside me. Today, Xiaoli wore a loose maternity dress, her long hair flowing down, holding my arm with a gentle and elegant aura. Even while pregnant, her class stood out infinitely more than Su Qing's. Su Qing's face immediately darkened. She sized Xiaoli up from head to toe, then looked at me with a smirk forming on her lips. In a mocking tone, she said, "Lin Chen, I was wondering why after I dumped you, you weren't sad at all. Turns out you found a sugar mommy to support you, huh? I really didn't expect you to be the type of guy who lives off a woman like that." Wang Hao also walked up, putting his arm around Su Qing's waist and looking at me with contempt. "Kid, does the soft rice taste good? Want Brother Hao to introduce you to a few more clients? Guaranteed to be way richer than this old hag." The moment those words were said, Xiaoli's face immediately went cold. I originally planned to trade a few words with them, but hearing them call Xiaoli An old hag made me snap. I clenched my fist until they cracked, just wanting to rush forward and beat them up. But Chao Li was one step ahead and stopped me. She stepped forward, shielding me behind her. Her body immediately radiated the powerful aura of a female CEO. I spend my money on my boyfriend, Asekia. What does that have to do with you? Chao Li's voice was ice cold, carrying an air of authority. And another thing, so you're the ex-girlfriend who dumped him? Su King was startled back a step by her aura, but she still tried to act calm. She tilted her chin and said, yeah, so what? He's just a penniless loser. Aside from being a leech, he can't do anything else. A penniless loser. Chao Li let out a cold sneer, sizing Su King up from head to toe, with eyes full of disdain. My Lin Chen is young handsome, has upright character, and is 100 times more responsible than that slick-haired playboy who only knows how to rely on his family next to you. You're calling him poor. Chao Li pointed at the entire shopping mall as she spoke and said nonchalantly, this mall is a key partnership project of my company. The entire mother and baby section on the third floor was my investment. My company has a market value of 1 billion yuan. Your boyfriend's family business combined wouldn't even equal my spare change. What right do you have to call my boyfriend poor? As soon as those words came out, Su Qing and Wang Hao's faces instantly turned pale. Wang Hao's family only ran a small business with assets amounting to only a few tens of millions. In front of someone with a billion yuan net worth like Chao Li, they were absolutely nothing. He immediately deflated, his previous arrogance vanishing instantly. Chao Li looked at them, continuing coldly, and another thing. You called me an old hag just now. I'm 38 this year, built this empire from scratch with my own hands. With cars, houses, and a company, the people who want to be with me could line up from here to the other side of the river. As for you, barely in your 20s, you don't think about making your own effort, only about clinging to a rich guy to be a mobile trophy. What right do you think you have to mock me? Su Qing's face flushed from red to white, standing there trembling uncontrollably, unable to utter a single word. The shoppers around them all gathered, pointing at them and whispering, laughing nonstop. Chao Li didn't want to waste more words on them, so she took out her phone and called the mall manager. Less than 2 minutes after she hung up, the mall security guards rushed over. Without a word, they grabbed Su Qing and Wang Hao and dragged them out. Su Qing screamed and struggled, but it was useless. Amidst the crowd's laughter, they were dragged out by security and kicked out in disgrace. Watching their pathetic, retreating figures, I felt incredibly satisfied. I hugged Chao Li tight, kissed her on the cheek, and grinned. Sis, you're so badass, I love you to death, Chao. Li's face immediately turned bright red. She gave me a smack and said irritably, there are so many people. Don't be reckless, even though she said that. The corners of her mouth kept curling up, her eyes full of smiles. After this incident, Chao Li, pretty much implicitly, accepted our relationship. When we got home that night, she leaned into my chest and said, I used to feel that our age gap was too large, and with our existing connection, we couldn't be together. But now I don't care anymore. I only want to be with you. I don't care what others say. I hugged her, my heart melting, and leaned down to kiss her. She didn't push me away, but wrapped her arms around my neck, responding to my kiss. Just as our feelings were getting stronger, and life was becoming more blissful, that persistent ghost Zhao Feng showed up at the door again. That day, I went to school for an exam, leaving the helper at home with Chao Li. As soon as I finished, I got a call from her. The helper sounded panicked on the phone, saying Zhao Feng had rushed to the house, screaming at the top of his lungs outside the door, demanding to see Chao Li, and even threatening to break the door down. I was furious. I hung up and caught a taxi straight home. On the way, I cursed out 18 generations of Zhao Feng's ancestors. When I arrived, Zhao Feng was still outside the door shouting, accompanied by 2 thug-like men, who clearly looked like bad news. The neighbors were all peeking out of their doors, pointing at them. Chao Li's door was tightly shut, and the helper inside was scared, calling me repeatedly. I rushed forward, grabbing Zhao Feng's collar and yanking him back. I gnashed my teeth and cursed, Zhao Feng, you motherfucker, do you want to die? How dare you cause trouble here? Zhao Feng, caught by me, stiffened for a moment before recognizing who I was. A mocking smirk played on his lips. He brushed my hand off and sized me up. Kid, who the hell are you? You're barely grown and you dare meddle in my business. I'm looking for my ex-wife. What's it to you? Ex-wife, I sneered. Why don't you look in the mirror? First, you think you're worthy of calling her that. You two have been divorced for 8 years. You stalk her for money every day. And now you dare show up at her doorstep to harass her. Do you have no shame? My business with my ex-wife is none of an outsider's concern. Zhao Feng glared at me with an arrogant look. I'm telling you, Li is pregnant with my child. I'm here to take her home. Kid, get lost right now or don't blame me for being ruthless. As soon as those words came out, I laughed from pure anger. I've seen shameless people, but never someone this delusional. I looked at him and spoke slowly. Your child Zhao Feng, you've been divorced for 8 years. You lived together for 8 years without a child. What is your sperm neja or something? Did it just stay in her womb for 8 years before finally deciding to come out? The surrounding neighbors immediately burst into laughter, all pointing at Zhao Feng and calling him shameless, saying he's gone crazy from being so money hungry. Zhao Feng's face instantly turned beet red. Humiliated and enraged, he balled his fist and swung at my face. You, motherfucker, you're asking for it. I was already on guard. I dodged to the side and landed a solid kick right to his gut. Those years in college weren't for nothing. Hitting the gym every day paid off. Dealing with a guy like him, who's probably been weakened by booze and women, was easy. Zhao Feng fell to the ground from my kick, grimacing in pain, unable to get up for a long time. The two thugs beside him saw their boss get hit and rushed forward to jump me. I didn't panic at all. I pulled out my phone, held it up in front of them, and said coldly, I've already called the cops. They'll be here soon. Plus, I've recorded this entire process of you guys trespassing and harassing us. Zhao Feng, don't you owe the casino millions? If you end up in jail, do you think the casino loan sharks will let you off? As soon as I said that, those two stopped dead in their tracks, their faces turning pale. They were just lackeys following Zhao Feng, and they feared the police and the casino thugs the most. Zhao Feng also panicked. He scrambled up from the ground and looked at me, his eyes filled with fear, but he still tried to act tough. Kid, just you wait. This isn't over yet. With that, he and his two goons turned tail and ran off in disgrace. Watching them flee, I let out a sigh of relief. I turned and knocked on the door. Sis Lee? It's me. Everything's fine now. The door opened quickly and Chow Lee threw herself into my arms, her whole body trembling. Her tears started falling immediately. I held her, gently patting her back and comforting her softly. It's okay. Don't be scared. I'm here. He won't dare come back. After this incident, I knew that if this scumbag Zhao Feng wasn't dealt with permanently, he would always be a threat. He was like a rabid dog now, buried under gambling debts, and capable of anything. If he becomes a cornered beast and harms Chow Lee or the baby, it'll be too late for regrets. I started planning my counterattack against Zhao Feng. First, I hired someone to find the casino where he owed money, then anonymously sent Zhao Feng's address and current schedule to the casino's thugs. The casino people were searching everywhere for Zhao Feng to collect the debt. Once they got the tip, they immediately dispatched men to track him down. Zhao Feng was intercepted by them several times. He nearly had his legs broken. Every day he had to live like a rat in the sewers. Utterly pathetic. He no longer had the energy to harass Chow Lee. Next, I gathered evidence of Zhao Feng extorting Chow Lee, along with proof of his harassment at her home, and submitted it all to the police. The police had already received Chow Lee's initial report. Now, with solid evidence, they immediately opened an investigation and issued a warrant for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was now like a rat crossing the street that everyone wanted to hit, hiding from the casino on one side and dodging the police on the other. He couldn't even stay in the city anymore. He could only sneakily flee the city, never daring to return again. With the massive headache named Zhao Feng dealt with, my life with Chow Lee finally returned to peace. Xiao Li was completely moved by everything I had done for her. That night, she leaned into my arms and said she was willing to marry me. Once the baby is born, we'll go register our marriage. I held her so emotional I nearly cried, leaning down to kiss her while repeating that I loved her. And so we lived our happy days. Kali's belly grew larger by the day. At over 4 months, the baby bump was clearly visible. We even started picking out names for the baby, decorating the nursery, and imagining our future life together. We both thought that as long as we hid it from my mom until the baby was born and the deed was done, my mom would gradually accept it even if she was angry. But neither of us expected that the needle in the haystack would eventually prick through. That day was a weekend and my mom called saying she'd stewed chicken soup and wanted to bring it over to Chow Li for nourishment. At that time, I was at the supermarket buying fruit for Chow Li. Hearing this, I immediately panicked and said I'd come pick it up and bring it to Chow Li myself. But my mom said it wasn't necessary, stating she was almost at the base of Chow Li's building and would stop by to visit. I hung up and ran back home like a madman. There was only one thought in my head. I'm dead, I'm about to be caught. I tried my best, but I was still one step too late. When I reached Chow Li's door, it was wide open. My mom was standing in the living room, the thermos in her hand fallen to the floor. Chicken soup spilled everywhere. She looked at me wearing pajamas, then looked at Chow Li also in pajamas with a clearly protruding belly. My mom's entire body trembled and her face turned pale, her eyes filled with utter disbelief. The air immediately froze. It was so quiet that you could hear a needle drop. I stood at the door, my mind blank and my blood feeling like it had turned to ice, unable to say a single word. My mom looked at me, her lips trembling for a long time, before finally squeezing out a sentence, her voice shaking. Lin Chun. Why are you here? My lips twitched, but for a long while, no words came out. Xiao Li was also terrified and rushed over to support my mom. her voice choking up Sis Lan. Listen to my explanation. My mom suddenly took a step back, avoiding her hand. Her gaze fell upon Chowli's stomach. Then back at me, her eyes instantly turning red. Mom finally understood everything. The story about her best friend being pregnant by an unknown father. The story about her son renting a place with a classmate. It was all a lie. Her best friend was pregnant with her son's child. Her son and the sister she grew up with had actually gotten together. My mom's vision went dark, and she nearly fainted. I rushed forward to support her, calling out anxiously, "Mom, don't get agitated. Listen to my explanation." My mom regained her senses, shoved our hands away, and slapped me across the face. A sharp crack echoed. My cheek burned with pain. Mom pointed at me, trembling with rage, her tears falling instantly. She gnashed her teeth and cursed, "Lin Chen, you damn brat. Do you even know who she is, Lucky? She's my best friend. Someone you're supposed to call auntie? How could you do something so beastly? How did I give birth to something like you, Sis Lan?" "Don't hit him, Chow." Lai rushed over to shield me, crying as she spoke to my mom, Sis Lan. "Don't blame Chen. It's all my fault. I was the proactive one. If you want to hit or scold someone, vent it all on me. It's my fault." My mom looked at Chao Li, her eyes full of disappointment and heartbreak. "Li, we grew up together since we were kids. I treat you like my own sister. How could you do this to me? How could you get with my son and even get pregnant with his child? How am I supposed to face anyone after this? How do I face our relatives and friends, Chiao?" Li looked at my mom and sobbed until her whole body shook, unable to say a word, except to repeatedly say, "I'm sorry." My mom got angrier as she spoke, running out to the balcony to grab the feather duster used for clothes. She intended to hit me. I covered my head and ran around the living room, shouting, "Mom, listen to me. I truly like Sis Li. We truly love each other. We're having a baby. We're going to get married. I'll beat you to death first, you brat." My mom was jumping with rage, swinging the feather duster as she chased me. "She's your aunt. She's 16 years older than you, eh? You want to marry her? You've gone insane. I'm telling you, I will never agree to this. Unless I'm dead." Chao Li, with her baby bump, stood in the middle to intervene. So worried she was in tears, fearing for both us and Mom's health as the living room turned into total chaos. It was absolute madness. Right when Mom was holding the duster and swinging at me with everything she had, Kiao Li suddenly let out a cry, clutching her stomach and doubling over. Her face instantly went pale. Both Mom and I froze, looking at her in terror. I rushed over to support her, asking anxiously, "Sis Li, what's wrong? Does your stomach hurt?" Chao Li gritted her teeth, her forehead covered in cold sweat. She gripped my hand tight, her voice trembling. "My stomach hurts." Mom panicked too, the duster falling to the floor. She rushed over to look at Chao Li, saying worriedly, "Li, what is it? Is the pregnancy being threatened? Hurry, get her to the hospital." Without a second thought, I scooped Chao Li up in my arms and ran outside like a madman. Mom followed behind me, so worried she was crying. All along the way, she kept muttering, "Please let her be okay." We got Chao Li to the hospital. After the checkup, the doctor said it was just a minor scare, nothing too serious. But the mother cannot be agitated any further. She must keep her mood stable and get plenty of rest. Only then did Mom and I breathe a sigh of relief. Chao Li lay on the hospital bed, falling asleep with her face still slightly pale. I sat by the bedside holding her hand, looking at her protruding belly. I felt both self-reproach and heartache. Mom stood at the door of the ward, watching us for a long time in silence, her gaze filled with complex emotions. After a long while, she walked in softly and patted my shoulder, her voice low and a bit weary. "Chen, come out here with me for a moment." I nodded, gently letting go of Chao Li's hand, and followed Mom out of the ward. Walking into the hospital hallway, Mom leaned against the wall, staring out the window. After a long silence, she finally let out a long sigh, looked at me and said, "Chen, tell me the truth. Do you really love Li? Or is this just a momentary impulse?" I looked into her eyes and said with absolute seriousness, "Mom, I truly love her. It's not just some momentary impulse. I want to marry her. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. And I want to take responsibility for her and our child." My mom looked at me, a flash of helplessness in her eyes, and sighed again. "She's 16 years older than you. She's my best friend. You call her auntie in 20 years. Have you thought about what people will say if you're together? How will relatives and friends look at our family?" "I don't care," I said. "This is our life. Let others say whatever they want. All I know is that Chao Li loves me, and I love her. We even have a child now. We just want to live a good life together." My mom stared at me for a long while in silence, tears uncontrollably streaming down. "You boy, why are you so stubborn? I raised you all by myself, also. Only hoping you'd be safe and happy. Find a suitable girl, get married, have kids, and live a peaceful life. Why did you create such a huge mess for me?" I reached out and gently wiped the tears from her face, feeling deep self-reproach. Mom, I'm sorry for making you sad, but I really love Qiao Li. I can't be without her, and I can't be without this child. My mom looked at me, then looked back at Qiao Li sleeping in the hospital ward. Finally, she let out a long sigh, waved her hand and said, "Fine, I get it. I won't interfere in this anymore. But Lin Chen, let me tell you, this is the path you chose yourself. No matter what happens in the future, you are not allowed to regret it or betray Li, and you definitely cannot fail that child. If you do, I'll be the first one to never forgive you." I froze for a moment looking at my mom in complete disbelief. Mom, you agree. What choice do I have? My mom gave me a sharp glare. The baby is already here. You expect me to force Li to abort? Or force you two to break up? Li is my best friend. She's like a sister to me, and you're my son. If you two truly want to be together, am I really supposed to cut ties with both of you forever? I was so moved I almost jumped for joy, hugging my mom tightly. Mom, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, cut it out with the theatrics. My mom patted my shoulder and sighed. It's just that from now on, I won't even know what to call her for the rest of my life. She's my best friend, but now she's my daughter-in-law. Tell me, what kind of situation is this? I couldn't help but laugh and said, "This is what they call making a close bond even closer." My mom rolled her eyes at me, not even bothering to scold me anymore. She just said, "Fine, go in and check on her. She's pregnant and has suffered so much stress. Take good care of her. I'm going to buy her some food and stew some soup to bring over." After saying that, my mom turned and left. Her back looked a bit helpless, but also relieved. Watching her go, my heart felt incredibly warm. I turned and went back into the ward. Qiao Li was awake, leaning against the bed and looking at me. Her eyes were full of tears, but a smile played on her lips. She had overheard the entire conversation between me and my mom. I walked over, sat by the bed, and took her hand, smiling as I said, "You heard it all right." My mom agreed. Qiao Li nodded, her tears streaming down. She reached out to hug me and choked out, "Lin Chen, thank you. Thank you so much." I smiled and held her, leaning down to kiss her forehead. "I'm the one who should thank you. Thank you for being willing to marry me and for being willing to have my child." Qiao Li leaned into my chest sobbing, but her heart was filled with happiness. I thought that all our troubles had finally been resolved, that we could finally live peacefully while waiting for the baby to arrive. But I never imagined that an even bigger mess was waiting for us. On the day Qiao Li was discharged, as we stepped out of the hospital, we were surrounded by a mob of reporters. Countless microphones and cameras were shoved in our faces, flashes clicking non-stop. Reporters scrambled to ask Miss Qiao, "Isa, Yamadua, is the young man beside you the father of your unborn child, Miss Qiao? We heard there's a 16-year age gap between you and this man, and that he's actually your best friend's son. Is that true, Miss Qiao? What is your relationship with your ex-husband, Mr. Zhao Feng? Did you divorce because of this young man?" One sharp question after another came flooding in. I was instantly stunned. I hurriedly shielded Qiao Li in my arms, blocking the cameras and microphones. Only one thought occupied my mind. How did the media find out about this? Who was the one who exposed all of this? I looked up past the crowd and saw a familiar figure, Zhao Feng. He stood there, a sinister smirk on his face as he watched us, his eyes filled with malice. I immediately understood. It was him. He leaked this story to the media. Qiao Li is a famous businesswoman in the city. High society secrets like these, no matter the detail, can trigger a media storm. Zhao Feng wanted to destroy Qiao Li to destroy us. I stared at Zhao Feng's sinister face, clenching my fists until they cracked, my eyes burning with rage. Qiao Li in my arms was trembling slightly, clutching my shirt tight. Looking at the mob of reporters and cameras surrounding us, her face instantly went pale. I looked down at Qiao Li in my arms, then gently patted her protruding belly. Taking a deep breath, I knew this battle had only just begun. But I'm not afraid. No matter how many storms lie ahead, no matter the trouble or the rumors, I will protect her, protect our child, and protect our family, because I am Lin Chen, her man and the father of our child.